I don't remember most of the games that I've played in my life. Now let me explain. It's not because I'm old as dirt or I have a really bad memory or something, but because most games just don't feel memorable to me. And I think there's many ways that a game can be memorable, but the main reason that I'll never forget is getting absolutely decimated hundreds of times by the same boss until I eventually learn what to do and finally pull off a victory. It just hits so much different when you have to go through an entire training arc to eventually squeak out a win against a boss that you've been suffering against for hours. Although sometimes it's obviously frustrating, it definitely beats playing a modern AAA game that completely insults your intelligence by telling you exactly where to go with like a giant arrow or yellow paint on the wall.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
But playing harder games is just simply better most of the time, and I'm about to tell you why. So make sure you lock in and you have a delicious beverage and maybe a sweet treat, because I'm about to enter flow state, okay? The harder you work, the greater the reward. Have you ever played a game where you mindlessly grind for countless hours, absolutely slaving away at basic tasks, just to feel like you've wasted your time? This applies to many games, but the main one I'm thinking of is Ark Survival Evolved. Now, I haven't played this game in years, and for good reason. I've played on heaps of worlds with a lot of friends many years ago, and here's how it goes every single time. You load in, you're fresh and excited, and you're ready to have a bit of fun, maybe die a few times because the early game is a bit harder than later in the game, and then you very slowly and very tediously get more overpowered as time goes on. And once you're overpowered and have amazing loot, awesome dinosaurs, and a crazy looking base, you'd think the game gets even more fun after that. Spoiler alert, it absolutely doesn't. It's just more countless hours of doing even more boring tasks and grinding. Eventually, after all that time has passed, one of your base members decides to have a little typey fingers in the chat and talk a bit of trash to the other clans. You don't know why he's doing it, he just is because he's an asshole, okay? I don't know how else to put it. And then of course, you log on the next day and 50 plus hours of tedious grinding is absolutely flattened to the ground, all because your teammate wanted to trash talk someone on the server for literally no reason, essentially wasting all of your clan's time and effort. By the way, this is a real clip of Snoop Dogg getting raided in Ark Survival Evolved, and I just thought it was really funny. Fuck! Bruh. All of that grinding you did was just easy and just something to do to pass the time, really. And you feel like you should have probably just played a game that actually respects your time instead. There are many games I feel like don't respect your work or effort, which brings me to games that actually do respect your time. Cuphead is a game that is so hard, when you first play, you might just give up. If you decide to persevere, you're in for the ride of your life. I remember my first time playing Cuphead, and I'd tried tens of hundreds of tries on the same boss, maybe over the course of days sometimes, but it always felt like I was learning something new and progressing each time I tried. Side note, the little progress meter it shows when you die is the most encouraging and also discouraging feature in any game ever. Anyway, I remember finally beating the dragon boss for the first time in Cuphead, and as you guys probably know if you've played the game, it is one of the hardest fights in the game. I'm serious, it's really hard. And when I finally saw that win sign jump up after many tries, I jumped out of my chair and fist pumped. I mean, nothing really feels better than a game that makes you earn your wins and doesn't hand them to you like you're some kind of little baby. I mean, God, what a rush. Whenever you finally beat that boss, all of that time and effort feels justified. And that's why I think it's way better to play a game that completely challenges you as a person and as a human being and doesn't hand you everything you're asking for. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it is fun to play a game that's simple and easy, you know, like my simulator games video, but that's when you want to relieve yourself of the stresses of the real world and when you're not truly locked in, you know what I mean? Real growth comes with patience and playing hard games that challenge you mentally and maybe even physically too when you break your fist on your monitor. Maybe I wouldn't go that far, okay? I'm just joking. But seriously, sometimes it does feel like kind of pointless when you're playing a game that doesn't challenge you. And you might feel the same way about in real life when you're like working a job that's maybe just not even challenging in the slightest. It's just trivial, just doing paperwork or whatever. Or maybe you feel that way about school if you're like some sort of smart kid and you're in a class that's not hard enough for you. We truly, as humans, thrive in environments where we are challenged by whatever we're working on or whatever we're trying to do. Oh, but it'd sure be nice if all that hard work would eventually pay off in the real world instead of just in game. Am I right, guys? If only.
Leave a like on the video now.
Playing hard games genuinely does give you real life benefits. Just hear me out, okay? I actually mean it. Real life example for me would be Spelunky 2. This was a game that I'd come back and forth to throughout the years, but something just clicked for me in the last year because I got extremely addicted to it and decided to 100% it for whatever reason, I guess. And boy, was that the worst, best decision of my life because I really didn't know how insanely hard and how long it was going to take to actually do this. I was so naive at the time that I didn't know setting this goal for myself was going to be an absolute mountain to climb for myself mentally, but I decided to stick with it anyway. You see, I spent countless hours trying to just get good at the game alone because I'll be totally honest, this is one of the hardest games I've ever played and it's like literally not even that close. And even when you do get good at this game, you can still repeatedly die on the first level pretty easily. And I'd say that this game takes almost an unnatural amount of patience and perseverance to get through, but once you do, you feel so rewarded for your patience, it's all worth it in the end. And believe it or not, little Timmy, it actually affected the way I approach things in my everyday life. After playing games such as Spelunky, Noita, and even Elden Ring, I find myself able to find inner strength and patience to deal with real life situations. At first, when I play a hard game, I might rage a bit or get angry, but as I keep playing and moving forward, I keep improving and I end up getting used to the sort of hardships that I might face, and I try to bring the same energy to real life situations that may be frustrating. I find myself getting less mad in situations that require more resilience, and I find myself solving problems much more efficiently now. Okay, hear me out because it might sound a little bit cheesy, but if you treat life like it's just one big and extremely difficult video game, you might actually find tedious tasks and things that you don't really want to do to be at least a little bit more entertaining at the bare minimum, and maybe even trivial. Honestly, because you can set goals in real life the same way you set goals to achievement hunt in a game, or you can strategize in similar ways as well. The bottom line is really that hard games can help you develop anything from leadership skills to faster reflexes. And guess what? I think that's pretty cool. You know what else is pretty cool? Failure. Yeah, you heard me right. Failure is a good thing, especially in hard games. There's no better way to learn something than getting your ass kicked over and over again. You have to reframe the way you think about it. You didn't just die to that boss. That boss opened a can of whoop ass on you and taught you a lesson. No, literally taught you a lesson. Every single death is a chance to understand what you did wrong the last time, which leads to growth and leads you to do the right thing the next time. Every time you miss a parry or misunderstand the boss's moveset, first of all, you slam your desk, but secondly, you at least understand that you should try and fix that your next try. Every time you make a mistake, in game or in real life, don't think of it as a bad thing because it only stunts your growth if you let it. If you think of it as more of a chance to learn and grow, it can only build character and genuinely make you a better person for it. And I think that's absolutely just massive. And you know what else is massive? My beautiful niche community, and my favorite comment from last video. Look, I appreciate all the love on the channel lately, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and bye bye!